Going to Sussex. Simon, Jane and Sheila are going to meet me here soon. I hope they'll be able to find me. They haven't been to Victoria before. It's a huge station, so they might get lost. I'll worry about them until I see them. Before I left my office, I phoned their hotel. Simon was ready, but neither of the girls was ready. He was cross. They're coming to our house for the weekend. I hope we'll have good weather. If the weather's fine, they'll be able to spend a lot of time on the beach. They like swimming. My children like swimming, too. So do I. I hope it'll be a nice weekend. At the railway station. Hello, Mr. Blake. We're not late, are we? Hello, Jane. No, you're not late. I was a little early. When does the train leave? It leaves at 4:27. If we hurry, we'll be able to catch it. Is it an express? No, it's a stopping train. Shall I buy the tickets, Mr. Blake? Oh yes. I forgot about them. There's the booking office. Do you know how much the fare is? £75 for a single ticket or £1.50 for a return. £75.50. But ask for a weekend return. That might be cheaper. And ask for a timetable, too. You'll need it on Sunday. All right. I'll meet you at the entrance to the platform. Which platform is ours? Platform 16. 16. I'll take your suitcase. Which one's yours? That one's mine. Hurry. The train leaves at 4:27. From platform 16. Yes. The suitcases. Let's sit in this compartment. Girls, you sit here. Simon and I'll put your suitcases on the rack. Whose is this one? That's Sheila's. Hers is heavy. Yes. She always brings a lot of things with her. She's always changing her clothes. Is this hers, too? No, that's Jane's. And where's yours? Mine's here. It's this small bag. I've only brought my swimming trunks and a few other things. I hope we'll be able to swim. Of course you will. Will we be able to swim when we get there? Yes, I think so. Although the tide'll be out, it'll be safe. You won't be able to dive off the rocks. When the tide's in, you'll be able to dive. That's all right. I like diving, but I prefer swimming. When's high tide? Low tide was at about 9 o'clock this morning, so high tide'll be at about 4 tomorrow afternoon. 9, 4. Sports. Don't the girls like swimming? Jane likes swimming. She's very good. And what about Sheila? I know she likes sunbathing. Doesn't she like swimming? I'm not sure. Girls never talk about sports. Do you like other sports, Simon? Oh yes. What do you like doing in the winter? I like skating and I love skiing. Ian goes skiing, doesn't he? Yes, he does. Although he didn't learn to ski until we went to Scotland last year, he's very good now. I didn't learn until we went to Geneva. Does either of your parents ski? No, neither of them skis, but Jane does. A long train journey. It's 5:30 and the train arrives at 5:42. We're almost there. That didn't seem like a long journey. Although it takes an hour and 15 minutes, it never seems very long. 15. Shall we get the luggage down before the train stops? Yes, let's take it down now. Are these suitcases ours? No. Neither of them is ours. Ours are on this side. Oh yes, I remember. The girls have grey suitcases. These are theirs. And this briefcase is yours, isn't it? Yes. Thank you. We're almost at the station. Let's walk down the corridor towards the door. Pound notes. Whose are these £2 notes? They're mine. They aren't yours. They're John's, aren't they? No, they aren't his. His are new. What are yours like? Mine are old. Neither of these notes is old. Friends. Mary, will you be able to help me this evening? No, I won't, but I'll be able to help you tomorrow. John, can you help me today? I'm sorry. I can't help you today or tomorrow, but I'll be able to help you the day after tomorrow. Harry. What about you? Can you help me? I don't think so. I won't be able to help you until I see you next week. What helpful friends. Hearing about the weekend. We've been back at the hotel since about 10:20. 10:20. Mum and Dad'll probably be back by midnight. They'd hoped to get back earlier, but they missed the train. They phoned us a little while ago. Mum was cross because the taxi driver had driven so slowly. The train had left when they arrived at the station. If they'd arrived 5 minutes earlier, they would have caught it. We're waiting to hear about their weekend. Neither of them had visited Cambridge before they went on this visit. They were both quite excited. Dad had read a bit about the city before they left. We want to tell them about our weekend, too. If they'd caught the train, they would have been here by now. We'll probably be awake for a long time. I hope I won't go to sleep before they come back. King's College. Tell me about your weekend. What did you do after you'd arrived at Mr. Tate's office? I spent the day with Mrs. Tate. After Dad and Mr. Tate had left for the conference, she and I went out. Did anyone else go with you? No, no one else went with us. If anyone else had gone with us, there would have been too many people. If you have a lot of women together, you'll have trouble. Where did you go, Mum? To King's College. Did you see the whole college? Oh no, a lot of it's private. Did you see any students? Most of them were on holiday, but there was a group of boys who looked like students. What else did you do? After we'd looked round King's, we did some shopping. Did you take your camera with you? Yes, we took it with us. We took a lot of photos. Jane's train ride. Tell us about your weekend. Did you have a good time? Yes, we had a marvelous time. Did you have any trouble on Friday? No, after you and Dad had gone, we packed our things. And did you meet Mr. Blake on time? Yes, he'd phoned us before he left his office. What did he do that for? To remind us, I suppose. Was the train journey all right? I suppose so. I'd taken a book, so I read that. Don't your eyes hurt when you read on a train? No, mine don't. Do yours? Yes. They're probably weaker than yours. Simon's wet clothes. I suppose Simon's sleeping, isn't he? Yes, he'd gone to sleep before you phoned. He and Ian woke up early this morning. After they'd played cricket for a couple of hours, they went out in the boat. But the Blakes haven't got a boat. Whose boat was it? A neighbor's. Ian had borrowed it. That was nice. Did they have a good time? Oh yes. It was very funny, too. They stopped to look at the engine and Simon fell out of the boat. His clothes were still wet when he came back. What did Mrs. Blake say? Nothing, she laughed. Did everyone else laugh? Yes, we all laughed. After he'd changed his clothes, I put them on the clothesline. They're dry now. The picnic. What else did you do today? After we'd been for a swim, Sheila and I helped Mrs. Blake. We cooked some food for a picnic. Is Mrs. Blake a good cook? Yes, she's an excellent cook and she's very friendly. After we'd been there for a couple of hours, we didn't feel like guests, we felt like members of the family. Where did you have your picnic? Oh, that was fun. We went out in the boat Ian had borrowed. What did you do that for? To get to the island. Oh, you had your picnic on an island, did you? That's right. It was marvelous. The sun was hot and the water was warm. What a day! It sounds like a good day. Did everyone else enjoy it, too? Oh yes. We'll probably never forget it. Sightseeing. Where did you go yesterday? In the morning we went to the zoo. Where else did you go? After we'd been to the zoo, we went to a museum. What else did you see? Piccadilly Circus. Before you went on the river or after? After. But before we saw Piccadilly Circus we'd walked along Oxford Street. When we'd spent all our money there, we went to see Piccadilly Circus. Photos. I want to take a photo. You can't take photos in the museum. Who can't? No one can. You've got to leave cameras at the main entrance. Who? Everyone. Yes, everyone. The doctor. I'll have to take Simon to a doctor today. When he woke up this morning, he didn't feel well. At breakfast he complained about a headache. He'd taken some aspirin but that hadn't helped. After we'd had breakfast, I phoned my sister and she gave me her doctor's number. Then I rang the surgery. After I'd explained the trouble to the receptionist, she gave us an early appointment so that I wouldn't waste the whole day. If we were at home, I wouldn't worry about him, but I want to be careful here so that he won't spoil his holiday. If I told him to stay in bed, he'd probably be angry, but if the doctor tells him to go to bed, he'll go. Simon hates going to the doctors. He's afraid of doctors. He hates taking medicine and he's afraid of injections. An accident. Good morning. Have you got an appointment? Yes. I'm Mrs. Fenton's sister, Mrs. Hunt. And this is my son, Simon. Oh yes. You rang this morning. How are you feeling? Not very well. The doctor won't be able to see you yet. There's been an emergency that he's got to take care of first. Was there an accident? Yes, a little while ago a woman came into the surgery with a little boy. She'd put a towel round his head. Why had she done that? So that the bleeding would stop. What had happened? The child had fallen off his bicycle. When he fell, he hit his head against the edge of the pavement. He'd cut his face and head. Has he got to go to hospital? No. His mother thought he'd broken his arm or his leg, but he hadn't. A cold. I'm sorry you had to wait so long. That's all right. Was the boy hurt badly? No. After I'd cleaned his head, he felt much better. So did his mother. The blood had frightened her. She probably thought it was much worse than it really was. Yes, mothers are always worrying about their children. Now, what's the matter with you? I've got a sore throat and a headache. Do you feel tired? Yes, my whole body feels weak. I really feel terrible. I'm sorry to hear that. I'll have to examine you. An injection. Open your mouth wide so that I can look at your throat. Yes, it's very red. It looks sore. I'll have to give you an injection. Can't you give me pills? An injection is better than pills. If I gave you pills, you'd probably be ill for a few days, but if I give you an injection, you'll feel better tomorrow. Are you sure? I hate injections. Yes, I'm sure. I advise you to have an injection. You won't get better quickly unless I give you one. Will I be able to go out tomorrow? Probably, if you rest today. Good. I'll sleep today so that I'll be able to go out tomorrow. Advice. Simon's caught a cold. His throat's very red and he's got a temperature. I'll be better soon. Will he? Yes. I've given him an injection. What's your advice, doctor? My advice is that he gets plenty of sleep. If he goes out, he'll probably catch flu. Yes, and if he caught flu, it would ruin his holiday. Yes, he won't enjoy his holiday unless he's feeling well. He ought to get plenty of sleep today so that he won't get tired again. Oh, I almost forgot. Here's a prescription for some medicine. Take it every 2 hours, Simon, so that you won't cough. If I had a lot of money, I'd buy an island. But you haven't got a lot of money. I know. But if I had a lot of money, I'd buy an island. If you bought an island, what would you do? If I bought an island, I'd live on it. If you lived on an island, you might be ill. Of course, I wouldn't live there unless I had 3 wives. If you had 3 wives, what would they do? One would clean, one would cook, and the other would take care of me. I'm sorry you haven't got a lot of money. Work tomorrow. I'm going for a swim in the lake. Why? So that I'll catch a cold. If you catch a cold, you'll have to stay in bed. I suppose I will. Why do you want to catch a cold? So that I won't have to go to work tomorrow. College. This morning the Hunts are coming here so that I can show them the college. Guy and Sarah hope their son'll like it. Simon doesn't want to go to college. If he likes it, perhaps he'll change his mind. He doesn't like studying. Guy thinks Simon's lazy, but I don't agree with him. I doubt if Simon's really lazy. It sounds as if he's interested in other kinds of things. At his age I didn't want to study, either. You seldom worry about the future when you're his age. I'll tell him about the advantages of a college education. Then I'll show him the sports ground. If he saw the boys on the football field, he'd want to go to college. And if he sees some of the girls, he'll change his mind very quickly. I hope he's easy to persuade. Mr. Fenton's office. Excuse me. Can you tell me where Mr. Fenton's office is? The next door on the left is his. Here's Mr. Fenton now. Hello, Guy. Where's the rest of your family? They're outside. I suggested they waited out there. What did you do that for? I thought you'd probably be busy. Nonsense. You ought to have brought them in. They're walking round so that they can see where everything is. I suggest you and Simon and I look round together so that I'll be able to answer his questions. If there are too many people around, you can't talk seriously. Yes, I agree. Let's go then. Students. Hello, Simon. How are you feeling today? I'm not sure how I'm feeling. Better, I think. How do you like the college? I doubt if I'll like it, but I like where it is and I like its size. It looks as if it's very small. Yes, it's very pleasant. There are only about 1,000 students. What kind of students come here? That's a difficult question to answer. I suppose it's an impossible question to answer, really. There are all kinds. They're difficult to describe. What do they do in their spare time? All kinds of things. There are a lot of different kinds of clubs to join. Some students meet their friends at the union. Some go to the library to study. Have they got to go to the library to study? No, they can study where they want to. Do you know what sports they play? Oh yes, there are teams for all kinds of sports. It sounds as if going to college is fun. A good suggestion. What will you do if you don't go to college, Simon? I'm not sure what I'll do. You really ought to go to college. If you have the chance, it's a shame to waste it. That's my advice, too. We've suggested he tries it for a year. But I don't like studying. What do you like doing? Playing the guitar. I'd like to be a jazz guitarist. That's a silly thing to say. You can't be a professional guitarist unless you're very good. Why don't you study music? I don't suppose you can study jazz here. You can only study classical music, can't you? Of course not. You can study all kinds of music and there are a lot of groups to join. That's the best suggestion yet. Now, let's walk towards the Union. What Simon thought. Do you know where the children are? At the Union. I suggested they had some coffee. Do you know what Simon thought about the college? It seemed as if he liked everything. I think we've persuaded him. Marvelous. How did you change his mind? Well, I told him about the sports. And then he told Simon about the music. And then Simon saw a group of pretty girls. Why don't you send us a prospectus? All right. And if you have any questions to ask, write to me. You know where the college is. Its address is on this card. Thanks. Now we ought to go, Guy. You're going shopping. Remember. John's future John. Looks as if he's worried. I agree with you. Perhaps he's worried about his school work. Yes, if he wants to go to college, he's got to do well at school. And if he wants to do well at school, he mustn't be lazy. I agree. I think we've got to persuade him to think about his future. Mary's present. What kind of things does Mary like? I suggest you ask her. I can't ask her. I want to buy her a birthday present. I might buy her a novel. I doubt if she likes books. She adores all kinds of clothes. And most kinds of jewelry. Why don't you buy her a bottle of perfume? That's a good idea. Bargains. Peter's brought Dad and me to a huge men's shop. Their summer sale began this morning. Peter thinks we'll get some good bargains. I hope so. At the moment Peter and Dad are in the shoes department, looking at shoes. There was a crowd of men waiting to buy shoes. I don't need shoes, so Dad suggested I looked at something else. Peter thinks I ought to buy a new watch because some of the watches are half price. I've found a watch I like, but it's expensive. I doubt if I can afford it. Dad won't allow me to buy an expensive watch. I tried to choose a cheaper one, but they're all ugly except this one. None of the others is as attractive as this one. I think it's a bargain. I'm afraid Dad won't think so. Where's the suit department? Did you buy a pair of shoes, Dad? No. None of the ones I liked was the right size. My feet are very wide and most of the shoes were for narrow feet. That's a shame. Is Peter still there looking at shoes? I don't think so. I left him paying the shop assistant. He's probably in the suit department now, waiting for us. We mustn't keep him waiting. Do you know where it is? I'm afraid not. Why don't you ask that assistant? Excuse me. Can you tell me where the suit department is, please? I'm afraid not. I'm a customer, not a shop assistant. Any assistant will be able to tell you. There's one standing behind the handkerchief counter. Escalators. Is this the suit department? I think so. Oh yes. There's Peter, standing in front of the counter. Where? There, behind that fat man. Oh yes. I doubt if he'll see us. Don't hurry, he's seen us. Did you get lost? I'm afraid so. An assistant working on the first floor gave us the wrong directions. We've been to every floor except the basement. What a shame. I ought to have stayed with you. It's all right. I like going on escalators. A bargain. Do you think I'll be able to find a suit here? Yes, I think so. They have any size and any style you want. What color do you like? Any color except blue. What about this brown one? Don't you think it's smart? Yes, and it looks as if it's my size. How tall are you? "5 feet 11 inches. What's your chest measurement? About 40 inches. "40. That's a shame. This one's too large. I suggest you try this one. It's only £25. 25. I'm sure it's worth much more. You're right. Don't you think the material's good? Yes, the quality's excellent. I'll try it on and if it fits, I'll buy it. It's a bargain. Simon's watch. How much money have you spent, Simon? I haven't added it up yet. Well, here's a pencil and a piece of paper. Add it up and then we'll discuss the watch. Perhaps you'll be able to afford it. I hope so. It comes to £7.40. That's not bad. I thought you'd spend more. Well, I bought the least expensive shirts and the tie was less expensive than the one I showed you. Good. Let's look at the watch you want. I've chosen a good watch. I'll need a good one for college. College. Oh yes. You'll need a good one for college. Is Peter in the watch department, waiting for us? I hope not. He went to get some cigarettes and some matches. Doesn't he smoke a pipe? Yes, but he smokes cigarettes, too. He's going to meet us at the barber's. Matches. Excuse me. Have you got a light, please? I'm afraid not. I don't smoke. That's a shame. None of my matches lights. They're wet. I suggest you ask that man sitting in the corner. He smokes. Excuse me. Have you got a match, please? Yes, I think so. Here you are. Thank you. Would you like a cigarette? No, thank you. I don't smoke cigarettes. I only smoke a pipe. An expensive bargain. This skirt's a bargain. Will it fit me? Allow me to measure you, madam. 24 inches. 24. I'm sure it will fit you. I hope so. Don't you think it's attractive, Judy? Well, it's more attractive than the brown one. And less expensive than the red one. It's worth £14. 14. £14. 14. You can't afford that, can you? I can't, but George can. And I haven't chosen the most expensive one, have I? A sad day for Sheila. I used to like going home, but today I'm sad. I wish I weren't going home. I can't believe I've already been here for 2.5 weeks. I used to think that 3 weeks was plenty of time for a holiday. Now I wish I had 6 weeks. We're at Dover because I'll be going back by boat. The Hunts have come to see me off. If the weather's good, I'll be spending a lot of time on the deck. If it's not good, I'll be sitting below feeling ill. I know I'll be thinking about Tim. Although we've only known each other for 2 weeks, I'll miss him. He's promised to write and we'll be seeing each other in November. He'll be staying in Geneva for a week. He hasn't traveled abroad on business before. H. He used to travel only in Britain. A letter. This letter belongs to you, Sheila. I wonder who it's from. Oh, it's from the Blakes. Six Park Drive, Mount Bay, Sussex. 3th July, 1971. 6/13/1971. Dear Sheila, we wish we could be at the boat to say goodbye to you, but, unfortunately, Michael's got to work. Thank you for the beautiful vase you sent us. I've put it on the little table under the window. First I put it on the narrow shelf above the television, but I was afraid that it might drop and break. Don't forget to ring our friend David Kilgore when you get back to Geneva. He's a very interesting person. He used to work at Michael's bank, but now he works for another bank. If you come back to London, remember to ring us. We'd like to see you again. We'll be thinking of you. Much love, Claire and Michael. A surprise. There's someone waving to us over there. I wonder who it is. Hello everyone. Tim. What are you doing here? I've got to see a client in Dover this afternoon, so I drove here first. How nice. Sarah, it's time we looked for Simon and Jane. I think they've got lost. I wonder where they are. You didn't forget to ask about your business trip to Europe, did you? No, I remembered to ask. How long will you be staying in Geneva? I'll be staying there for 9 days. I'm sorry. What did you say? I said I'll be staying there for 9 days. How wonderful. A form. Oh dear. What's the matter? I've lost the form they gave me. Have you looked in your handbag? Yes, it's not there. Is it under your suitcase? No. Between these two books. No. Among those papers. No. Oh, here it is. Where? I found it in my pocket. I suppose I'm nervous. I wonder why that is. I used not to be nervous. If you give me a pen, I'll fill in the form. Last name. Morgan. First name. Sheila. Address. '34 Rue Temple, Geneva, Switzerland. '34. Date of birth. Second May, 1950. '50. Place of birth. Exeter, Devon. Sex. Female. Nationality. British. Passport number. F296387. 296,387. Marital status. Single. All right. Now you sign it. Goodbye. When are you two getting married? Don't be silly, Simon. They've only known each other for 2 weeks. Sorry. It was only a joke. I think it's time we left. Thanks for everything. We wish you were going to Scotland with us. So do I. Thanks again. Goodbye. Goodbye. We'll be watching from the quay. Bob used to smoke. Do you smoke, Bob? No, I used to smoke. Do you drink? No, not now. I used to drink. I'm married now and I have 4 children. I can't afford to drink any. My wife won't allow me to smoke. A short letter. Six Glass Gardens, Birmingham, 5. January 2nd, I-97L. Six, 5. 2, 1971. Dear Judy, thank you for your letter. I'll be working in London during February. Can we see each other then? I'll be staying at the same hotel as before. It's time we met again. Don't you agree? I wish I had time to write more. I promise to write again soon. Love, Tom. Peter's job. Yesterday, while we were shopping, Guy asked me about my job, so I've asked him to come with me today. I'll be inspecting 2 factories. Each factory makes a product which I advertise. The first one which we'll be visiting is a chocolate factory. The other factory which we'll be inspecting manufactures business machines. The machines are made here and then they're sold in Europe. They're nearly the same as the ones which Mr. Hunt sells. Recently I've visited a number of my clients. I used to work in the office all the time. I rarely saw the clients in the factories. They usually came here. I hardly ever went to the factories. The job's much more interesting now. It used not to be nearly as enjoyable. Now it's the kind of job which is completely different each day. How stupid. Hello, Jill. Is this where Mr. Burbank's office is? Don't you know where it is yet? No, I don't. That's why I asked. Oh, men. How stupid they are. It's in the corridor which you've just passed. Oh. That's where it is. Yes, that's where it's always been. I was only joking. I knew where it was. I needed an excuse to talk to you. While I was driving here, I was thinking about you. Would you like to go to Anthony's party? Is that next Saturday? Yes, that's when it is. I'd love to go. I'm sorry I was so rude a minute ago. I was getting angry just before you arrived. Why? I was trying to fix this machine. What's the matter with it? I don't know. I've pushed each button and pulled each handle, but it still doesn't work. Why don't you plug it in? Electric machines need electricity, you know. Oh. That's how it works. Oh, women. How stupid they are. Mr. Burbank. Sorry I kept you waiting, Guy. I was wondering why you were doing. I was talking to one of the secretaries. Oh. That's why you enjoy the job. That's one of the reasons, I suppose. What were you doing while I was in the office? While you were talking to her, I was reading a magazine. It's published by the Chocolate Makers Association. Do you mind if I keep it? I don't mind if you keep it, but I'll ask Mr. Burbank if he minds. Ah, here he is. Hello. Do you mind if we delay our tour for a few minutes? While I was dictating a letter to my secretary, my wife rang. Do you mind if I ring her? Of course we don't mind. made by machine. Now you've seen how the chocolate's made. Would you like to see how each chocolate's filled? Yes, please. I've never completely understood that. You understood it when it was explained, didn't you, Peter? Oh yes. I even wrote a report about it. May I introduce Mr. White, the foreman? He'll explain how the chocolates are filled. Yes, I'll show you how they're filled. I filled some a few minutes ago. They're not made by hand, are they? Oh no, they're made by machines, which I'll show you later. Filling chocolates. The chocolate's filled like this. First you choose a filling. Each of these dishes contains a different filling. Then you put it into this bag, which is attached to the filling needle. When you're ready, you stick the needle into the bottom of the chocolate shell and then you squeeze the bag, like this. Of course, it's done by machines. I see. Is this the only method which you can use? Oh no. There are other ways. Who puts them into the boxes? That's done by a machine which is able to count them automatically. It occasionally makes a mistake, but each box is checked by a girl before it's wrapped. The knife. H. What were you doing last night at 10 o'clock? I was listening to the radio. I see. While you were listening to the radio, someone stuck a knife into an old lady. Where? Outside my house. I didn't say that, sir. A knife was stuck into an old lady. How terrible. Someone saw a man running towards your house. A man was seen running towards my house. But I was listening to the radio. I didn't say you, sir. I said, a man. The camera. How do you take a photo with this camera? I'm not sure how it works. I think you hold the camera like this. A photo's taken each time that button is pushed, isn't it? No, not that button, the button which is on the top. You push it like this. A new job. An interesting job has been advertised in the paper. A sales manager's required by a large company. I've written to them but I haven't been contacted yet. This is a copy of the letter which I sent. Beardsley Hotel, Bayswater Road, London, W.2. The 8th of July, I-97I. 2. 8, 1971. The Personnel Manager, World Computer Company, Basingstoke, Hampshire. Dear Sir, Sales Manager Ref, JG/. I am interested in the post of Sales Manager which you advertised in today's newspaper. At the moment I am employed by International Computer Company Limited. For the last 3 years I have been in their Geneva office. While I was there, I was promoted to General Manager of the Sales, Advertising and Marketing departments. Other positions which I have held have included Production Manager, for Anglia Computers and Head of the Research Department of the same firm. I hope that an application form will be sent to me. Yours faithfully, Guy Hunt. Worry. Today's post hasn't been brought up yet, has it? No. The receptionist has been asked to ring us when it arrives. You haven't heard from WCC yet, have you? No. When was the letter posted? Last Wednesday. Where are their machines sold? In Europe and Asia. According to the latest report, there are offices in 8 countries. England, the USA, France, Sweden, Italy, Japan, Australia and Canada. The Post. The receptionist has just rung. The post's just been delivered. I'd rather not see it. It's what you were waiting for. W.C.CS reply. Tell me what they say. What a pity. The post's already been filled. My letter's been put in their file. Sorry, where was it put? In their file. I'll be contacted when there's another similar vacancy. A job in the London office. Why were you smiling just then? Because I was reading this letter from IC. Tell me what IC wants. Listen to this. International Computer Company Limited, Ward Avenue, London, S.W.7. The 15th of July, 1971. 7. 1971. Dear Mr. Hunt, while we were having lunch last week, I mentioned a job in our London office. I have now been authorized to offer it to you. If you accept our offer, it will mean that your salary will be increased. I have spoken to our accounts department and, according to them, we are able to offer you an additional £400 a year. You will also be given 4 weeks holiday per annum instead of 3 weeks. Part 3. I have enclosed some documents, one of which shows our profit and loss account and another our plans for future expansion. You might like to look at these while you are considering our offer. Yours sincerely, Stephen Curtis. The decision. Well, Sarah. What do you think? H. It sounds like a good job, but I'd rather not live in London. Oh, that's what's worrying you. Well, don't worry about it. H. While I was talking to Steve, I mentioned this and he suggested we lived in the country outside London. Perhaps we won't like living in the south. Well, if we don't like it, we can leave. H. I warned Steve about that. Well, all right. An advertisement. Applications are invited for the post of secretary to the sales manager. The successful applicant will be required to work in a friendly London office. She will also be asked to travel abroad occasionally. She will be between 18 and 25, smart and interested in languages. (1825). Good salary, 5-day week, 3 weeks holiday. (5.3). Write to the Personnel Manager, 207 Regent Street, London, W.1. (207, 1). A new house. Guy's phoned Dicey and he's told them that he's decided to accept their offer. Now we've got to decide where to live and what kind of house to buy. We've been discussing it all morning. At first we thought we'd rent a house in the suburbs. Now we've decided to buy one, since we've said that we'll stay for at least 2 years. Since the children and I are going to Scotland tomorrow, I won't be able to look for a house. Guy will do it. He'll be working hard while we're enjoying ourselves in Scotland. It isn't easy to buy a house. There are certain things which are very important to us. For example, Guy's been talking about a large garden where he can grow flowers and vegetables. Since there are so many things to think about, I've been making a list. I do hope he'll find a house we like. Where to live? It's a good thing Peter has taken the children out today. Yes, they'll enjoy themselves at the seaside and it'll give us a chance to discuss houses. How long will they be away? Well, they left at 8 this morning and they'll be back about 9 tonight. That's 13 hours. Since you'll be leaving tomorrow, we'll have to talk to the children about the house when they come back. We'll tell them what we've decided and find out what they think. What have we decided? First, we do not want a modern house. No, that's second. First, we do want to live outside London. Oh yes, that's right. Probable in Sussex where the Blakes live. Simon won't argue about that, since he could often see Ian if we lived there. Yes, but I'd rather not live in Mount Bay. I'd rather live a little closer to town. What else ought I to put on the list? I don't know. I'll think about it while I'm shaving. Lists. What have you been doing, Sarah? While you've been shaving, I've been adding to our list. I've begun another list, too. What for? Four new things inside the house. What have you been listing? Extra bedroom for guests. Good idea. What else? Open fireplace in the living room. Yes. I do love the smell of burning wood. Since we'll be looking for an old house, we'll probably be able to find one with an open fireplace. Most old houses have them. They're very common. I also wrote Simon's room on the list. Simon would like a place where he could amuse himself and entertain his friends. That's what I thought. Simon's opinion. I heard my name. Hello, Simon. We've been thinking about you. Oh, are you going to buy a farm? How silly you are, Simon. We're not rich, you know. But we're not poor, either. I'd like a farm, too, Simon, but since I've got to work in London, I can't look after a farm. But I like animals. You can have a dog or a cat. Yes, I do like dogs. What else have you been talking about? We've been trying to decide where to live and what kind of house to buy. Have you got any ideas? Well, there's no particular kind of house I like. Let's look in the paper, where there'll be some advertisements. Property. Where's Jane? In her room. What's she been doing? She's been looking at herself in the mirror. She got sunburned today. Look at yourself, Simon. You've got sunburnt, too. I know. Here's the property section. If we were sure that we'd stay here, we could have a house built. But Sarah, we want an old house. We can't have an old house built. You're right. How stupid I am. There are no good ones in the newspaper. None. No, there aren't any here. We'll look again tomorrow. I'll find a few and compare them. Yes, while you're enjoying yourselves in Scotland, I'll be running round looking at houses. Don't run too fast, Dad. Very funny. Bored. I don't know what to do or where to go. Take yourself to the cinema. I've no money. Visit a friend. I don't know who to visit. I haven't got any friends. Take the dog for a walk. No, I'd rather do nothing. Late again. How long has Betty been getting ready? For at least an hour. And she'll probably need another hour. Why? She hasn't washed or dressed yet. It's good thing she hasn't got to shave, too. Leaving the hotel. Sarah and the children are going to fly to Scotland this afternoon. Before I accepted the job, we had intended to go by train. It's a long way from here to Scotland, but we thought we'd enjoy the journey. We thought we'd stop in Manchester, where we'd call on my youngest brother. However, all our plans have been changed now. Since I've got no time to waste, the family's going to Scotland without me. I'll stay here alone and look for a house. I'd rather not do it alone, but I've no choice, I've got to do it myself. Michael Blake found their house himself, so I suppose it can be done. I'll stay in London from Monday to Friday and then go to the Blakes at the weekends. Either Mike will drive me round to look at houses, or he'll lend me his car and I'll drive myself. Weather. The weather forecast hasn't been given yet, has it? I don't think so. I haven't heard it yet. Turn the radio up, please. There'll probably be a report in a few minutes. It's almost 1 o'clock. My hands are full, I can turn it up. All right. I'll do it myself. This sounds like the end of a program. You've been listening to Music for Everyone. And now here is a special message from our motoring unit. On the A5 in Buckinghamshire, where strong winds have blown several trees onto the road. Five. Driving is very dangerous. According to our reports, there have been several accidents. A man died when a tree fell and crushed his car. The accident happened at the junction of the A5 and the A43, about 6 miles north of Buckingham. 5:43. Drivers are advised to avoid this area, since the traffic is very heavy and delays of up to 30 minutes are expected. Three zero. And now here is the weather forecast for the next 24 hours until midday tomorrow. (24). Rain will continue in all areas until late tonight but will die away gradually. 'Tomorrow will be sunny in the east, in the west there will be showers and bright periods. Temperatures will be between 17 and 18 degrees centigrade. That is, 63 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. (17, 18, 63, 67). No delays. Isn't that terrible, Guy? Do you think it's safe to fly? If the planes are still flying, I'm sure it's safe. They never fly when they know there's any danger. Perhaps we ought to phone the airport. Jane's already done that. Did she think of that herself or did you suggest it? She did it herself. What was she told? There have been no cancellations and no delays yet. Yet. What does that mean? The planes have been taking off on time, but if the bad weather continues, some delays are expected. I do hope our flight won't be delayed. The broken records. Has everything been packed? Yes, I think so. The children have taken their suitcases downstairs. Did they do it themselves? Simon carried his down himself. Jane asked the porter to carry hers down because she couldn't lift it herself. How did Simon pack his records? I don't know. Here he is. You can ask him yourself. How did you pack your records, Simon? I didn't need to pack them. Why? I broke them. How did you do that? Oh, it was easy. I brought them into the room this morning. I put them in the middle of the bed, where I could see them. Then I went downstairs and when I came back I sat on them. A telegram. Is everyone ready? Peter's waiting downstairs. He's parked his car outside the hotel, where he's not allowed to park, so we ought to hurry. I hate leaving this place. I've really felt at home here. Guy, have you paid the bill? Yes, I paid it a little while ago. It came to more than I thought it would. And while I was paying, this telegram was delivered. Telegram. Who from? From your sister. Here, you can read it yourself. Received note stop will meet at airport stop Joanna. What was the second word, Mum? The second word's note. Did you notice the date on it? Yes, it was sent on Friday. How funny. It ought to have arrived yesterday. Yes, it was sent to the wrong hotel. Never mind. Let's go. Pygmalion. Her name cannot be Doolittle. Why? Because Doolittle is an English name. And she is not English. Oh, nonsense. She speaks English perfectly. Too perfectly. Can you show me any English woman who speaks English as it should be spoken? Only foreigners who have been taught to speak it well. From Pygmalion by Bernard Shaw.